Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, June 29th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable, seroundtable.com over the past week. First up, Google, after almost 18 years, is rebranding AdWords and DoubleClick and a bunch of other names as Google Ads. So, Google AdWords will be now known as Google Ads. DoubleClick advertisers products and Google Analytics 360 Suite is now going to be known as Google Marketing Platform. DoubleClick for publisher products like AdSense, I assume, DoubleClick Ad Exchange, etc., will also now be called Google Ad Manager. So the big thing, so DoubleClick is like a 22-year-old brand name. AdWords is around for almost 18 years, a little bit over, almost 18 years. AdWords actually came out October 23rd, 2000. So Google's doing a major rebrand, changing AdWords to Google Ads. Anyway, it's a big rebrand. Not much is changing outside of that. Obviously, they're launching the new AdWords console for advertisers, etc., and that's been happening for the past 2 years, as we discussed last year. But the rebrand is significant. It's a big change for Google and very interesting. Google released an indexing API right now just for job posting URLs. But there's an indexing API, and it can be used for more things. But the indexing API specifically works with job schema, and when the purpose is because jobs are released, announced, and removed very, very quickly, Google wants to make sure their job search results are extremely accurate. So the new indexing API specifically only works with job posting URLs right now. This way, those who have jobs on their websites, including large job sites, could easily go ahead and communicate to Google, this job is new, this job is removed, this job is filled, etc. And you could definitely take a look at that. John Mueller said he isn't sure if they're going to be expanding the indexing API beyond job posting URLs. He said, we have to see what happens with job posting URLs. It's a good example. Basically, John said job posting URLs is a good use for it. But what other good uses are there for it? Maybe there's something other related things to it, etc. John basically also said that this is unrelated to the real-time indexing API we discussed 2 years ago around Google I/O. He said this is a brand new API and it's unrelated to anything else. So we'll see what happens with that. It'll be very interesting to see that. Google also released a new feature in the new Google Search Console, the beta Google Search Console, called the URL inspection tool. It's very cool. It lets you go ahead and plug in a URL, and it provides details like around crawl, indexing, and serving information about your pages directly from the Google Index based on what Google Index has in real time. It's not a real-time snapshot of your web page. It's a real-time look at what the Google Index knows about that URL, including AMP errors, structured data errors, indexing issues, and so forth. Here's a screenshot of everything all good. URLs are in Google. The index coverage is great. AMP is solid. Here's a thing of what's bad. I mean, what could go wrong? It's not in the URL. There's indexing issues in terms of crawl errors, etc., etc. So this tool is very, very useful. Definitely take a look at it, and it can definitely help you with debugging issues almost in real time. Also, Google said the new Google Search, this feature is actually still rolling out. So if you don't see it yet, you will. I'll show you where you could see it. So let me just zoom in here. So you would see it, if you can see over here, in the new Google Search Console, under, above the coming soon and under the sitemaps. There's a URL inspection tool. Click on that, it will access it. Also, will there be an API coming to, this tool? Probably. But Google said not yet, so we'll see what happens. Google has no plans on that, but I suspect there will be an API at some point for that. Google's new speed update that's coming out next month. They didn't specifically say when next month, but it's coming out next month. Specifically works on a gradual scale. The previous one from 8 years ago, released in April 2010, obviously it only measured desktop, not mobile. But more importantly, it only impacted really, really slow web pages. It didn't have any like boost for being really, really fast, I guess. Where this one says, John Mueller said, it's working on a gradual scale. He said, and let me quote you, it's a bit different than the other speed updates that we did, he said. In general, like maybe 7-8 years ago, talking about the previous one, where there was no differentiating between like fast and slow. This one, he said, is more of a gradual scale. so that the faster you can make your pages, the more we can take that into account. It's not so much like it's just slow or it's just fast. So if you do improve your pages gradually in terms of speed, it will help a little bit with your rankings. So that's pretty cool in terms of Google's first time I'm hearing Google say that this is how this speed update is actually changing things. Google also said that that they ignore links in press releases. They used to say that press release links should be no-follow. They're against their link schemes. You could potentially be penalized for them, so always no-follow them. But here, John Mueller is saying they just ignore them. He said, we try to ignore links from press releases because we know in general companies put press releases out themselves, and they obviously cannot count them. But if these links happen, they're out there. It's not something you need to worry about, he said, because you really can't take them back. So he's basically saying you're not going to be penalized for press release links, but they're not going to help you. So that's an interesting new little tidbit, small little tidbit. Google said every URL in the Google index technically has a canonical. Either it's canonical to itself or there's a canonical associated with it. And thus, you don't have to worry about being dropped out of the index because somebody was basically saying, hey, if you don't have a canonical URL in the Google index, then you're not going to be in the Google index. It's true, but every URL in the Google index has a canonical URL, either itself or what you specified or what Google attributed to it. Google also said that, actually this is a new feature, if you go to the Google search results and you do a really, really long tail query, sometimes you'll get this new feature which says must include. Here's a screenshot. So you do a search and it says, it's missing AEO. I don't know why I wrote that. And it says must include AEO. If you click that, that will actually force Google to include that keyword in your search phrase and require that to happen. So that's a new UI interface. It used to be missing only and not show you a way to include it. And that link obviously gives a searcher a way to force that to be included. Late Friday, Google announced a way to get verified, Google verification specifically in the knowledge panel. So for example, here's my knowledge panel in Google search. There is a way to say, do you manage this online presence for Barry Schwartz? When you click it, it takes you to the Google verification page. You can verify on Twitter, Google+, YouTube, and other methods. And when you verify, Google will say, congratulations, you've been verified. And then it gives you a quicker way to actually update your knowledge panel about yourself, your company, your brand, or whatever it might be. This has been rolling out as of last week. It works if you have a knowledge panel, so definitely take a look at that. There are some small bugs with it, but overall it's been working pretty well. Some people are saying that the knowledge panels are looking more and more like featured snippets, and some people share some examples, so if you want to look at that, you definitely can. And also, the Google Local Pack has been testing a lot of new things, like a new filter for places, your past visits. So if you want to go ahead and go to a bar and it has this new your past visits thing, you can say bars I visited, bars I haven't visited, or any. That's a new little feature, which is pretty cool. Google is showing dynamic filters in your local pack as well. So if you do a query for show me bars within 233 meters or miles from my location, Google will go ahead and add that to the filter button. So you could click it to remove it if you want to. So it's dynamic filters there in the Google Local Pack. And Google My Business has also launched subjective attributes reporting and insights. So Google My Business has insights, which is basically an analytics tool for your Google My Business listings. And in there, there's this new insights thing around subjective attributes. Subjective attributes are basically how people classify or talk about your business on Google My Business and Google Local. And so here's a restaurant. It's popular for lunch. People are saying it's casual. It's popular for dinner. Good for groups. Good for kids. And serves healthy options. These are what people are describing your business in Google My Business and local results. And actually, Google's showing you that information, which is really, really valuable, I think. I think it's only like a restaurant-related feature. But definitely take a look at your Google My Business insights and see if there's anything there, because it's very valuable. Google My Business also launched Google Performance Cards, although I don't think these are new. Google announced it as new. But performance cards basically show you how many views, searches, and actions you get on those Google Local results. Although, again, I don't think this is new. I'm not sure why Google announced it as being new. Talking about new, a few weeks ago, I think maybe a month ago, I got a box from Google, and the Google was from Project Beacon with a Google address on it from Mountain View. And it looks like this. And then I looked at it. It's an actual beacon, like one of these location beacons that you can install or mount anywhere in your office or in your business. And they want you to go ahead and attributed to your business. They say put it up anywhere in a ceiling or a pillar or something in your office, and then go to g.co.beaconhelp to learn more. Very interesting. Google, this is obviously for inside GPS types of tracking, more accurate tracking about a local certain location. So I found that very interesting. Not many people are talking about it, but Google's mailing them out. I didn't request it. It just came to my office. Danny Sullivan from Google is thinking about writing a style guide for Google search, how to search types of things. We'll see if that happens. He's just an idea that he's speaking about. That he mentioned on Twitter. Google AdWords overview page has 2 new cards, a new words card and an ad group shift card. New words cards show that people are using new words when they're trying to find your ads, and ad group shift cards are showing you shifts in your ad groups to around specific changes that are important to your advertising campaigns. Bing Ads announced automated extensions powered by AI. So automated extensions are basically extensions that show up on your ads, and Bing is basically saying we're powering these by AI features, artificial intelligence, to kind of help you build out better automated extensions, and those across many automated extensions that they offer. And Danny Sullivan was profiled by CNBC about his new role at Google, moving from a person who reports on Google and search to a person who works with inside Google, trying to convey Google's message that they're not evil and so forth. Very interesting article. Definitely take a look at it. And that really pretty much recaps this week's Search Buzz video recap. Again, my name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SEMroundtable.com over the past week. Again, today is Friday, June 29th. Everyone have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next. Bye.